Morning, everybody. Now, if you're watching and not just listening, you're going to notice I'm not in my normal office. Now, the logical conclusion would be, yeah, Dave finally said something so stupid that both the girls kicked him out of the house. But surprisingly, that's not it. Actually, it's kind of the opposite. Me and my wife Amber are out here on the East Coast celebrating our anniversary. And so we've crisscrossed this region probably 3 or 4 times looking at old historical sites, both from American history as well as restoration history. And it has been such a blessing to be out here. Now, this trip has been in the works for about 8 months. We planned this about 8 months ago. So it's been in the works for a while. And um, as time grew closer, just a few weeks back, we all remember what happened in Utah on September 10th with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And I have to admit, and I've said it before on the podcast here, that shook me. And it took me a little while to kind of put some context there and figure out why it shook me so bad. Not context to the event, but context on why that was so disturbing to me. I wasn't a follower of Charlie Kirk's by any stretch of the imagination. I saw some of his videos. I liked his content by and large, but wasn't a follower, wasn't a subscriber, but it still shook me. And so as we came out here to the East Coast, I was feeling that still a little bit. And I kind of went on a quest for some answers too while I was here because I felt like it was important. I felt the Lord really tell me there's things that you missed back at some of these sites. And so some of those sites that I'd seen before, I mean, look, I'd looked at them at least half a dozen times because I used to live out here. But this time, as I really had specific questions, I got some really specific answers, and some coincidences happened. Coincidences. Some things happened that lined up just perfectly that I had no idea would line up perfectly, and really brought some things to mind, and I believe brought some inspiration here. And I'm really super excited to share that with you guys. Now, with that said, I want everyone to know the format of the podcast is not changing. This is still a Mormon podcast. Um, However, there are intersections between American history and Mormonism that I don't think can be just ignored. And I look forward to, in the coming months on sharing those with you. Now, again, the podcast's not changing. I've got the next 3 weeks lined up with guests. Um, guys whose names you would recognize, Joshua Erickson, Drew Briney, and then a gentleman that I've never had on the podcast before that you guys are really going to want to listen to. Because if you're a believer in the Book of Mormon and the idea of um, American ancient civilizations, um, yeah, he's got some stuff, and you guys are going to want to stay tuned. I'm so excited to bring that to you in particular. Now, to go along with that, I want to say this that um, all this content will be really geared to try to help you guys be able to stand in these times. Um, I I really believe we live in historic times, and whether it happens in mortality or it happens after the Savior comes, I do believe the history will be talked about, and our future posterity is going to ask us, "What did you do in those days?" And I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't want to have to look at my kids and said, "Well, I just hunkered down. I just kept my head low." Um, this content is really going to be designed to help you stand in these times, to become more fully converted to the restored gospel of Jesus Christ, and to become better disciples of the Savior, so that you can help your families to stand, and also that we can be a light to others. That other people that we can draw others in and show them a better way of going. Because again, I think we live in both historic and precarious times. Now, with that said, I just want to reemphasize nothing's changing. Just maybe some new some content with some guests you haven't heard from before. Um, Gosh, one in particular I'm super excited for is a gentleman who um you guys would know who he is. I've never had him on the podcast before, but he's been on some really big platforms. I mean, really big platforms. And I've talked with him, and he is committed to coming on the podcast in November, which that time frame is fitting. So I'm super excited to bring that to you. Um, Other than that, guys, that's all I got for you today. I want to respect your time. I don't have a lot else to go over. I was going to drop an episode this week, like I always do, but I felt constrained by the Spirit before I left to take my laptop and my microphone, and just in case I encountered anybody. And I did, but um couldn't get that out. And I really felt the Lord say, just wait until this trip is over, because I think he wanted to show me some things, and boy did he ever. Now, to wrap this all up, I just want you guys to know that how much I love you. I know I say that from time to time on the podcast, but I truly mean it. Um, there's no reason that this should have the following it does. And granted, it's not massive or huge, but it's sizable. And I so love you guys. I've had the opportunity to meet so many of you through the podcast. And quite frankly, I just stand in awe of so many of you for your willingness to stand for the gospel, to be disciples of Jesus Christ, to share the gospel with other people. You guys are just amazing, and you're awesome. And I am so thankful that you guys spend your time here. I know we're all busy. You could do a ton of other things, yet you spend it here. And I take that very seriously, and there's responsibility that comes with it. And so I want to respect your time here. So, again, nothing's changing. Next week, I'll drop a normal episode. Most likely, Joshua Erickson. We'll be right back to the normal schedule, dropping on Saturday morning with a 2 to 3 hour podcast. Um, Finally, you guys, again, I just love you. Thanks for listening. We'll see everybody next week. Bye.